Hello, I'm Ellen Horan, President and CEO of the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Welcome to this week's Member Spotlight. I have with me Chris Haines, who is owner of Michael's Classic Limousine. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
How come it's not Chris's Classic Limousine?
Well, I bought the business in 2008, and it just wasn't a good idea to change the name, I didn't think.
Oh, yeah, it was already branded.
It was already branded,
Very good.
Right.
So what made you decide to buy that business in 2008?
Well, you know, I found
a year of recession.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well. But it was just in time for gas prices to go up,
okay,
and for the economy to go downhill. But, you know, we've survived, and when I bought the business, there were 8 vehicles in the fleet. And as of today, we're at 22.
I saw that.
Yeah,
great expansion.
Yeah. So we're moving along, and we just relocated to a new facility on Route 61 in Leesport at the end of 2013. And so we're just poised to keep growing into the future. Yeah.
So your primary services are special events?
We do a little bit of everything. A big part of what we do is airport and pier transportation.
Okay.
We have about 8 sedans, I think, and we are traveling to the primarily Philadelphia airport, but we do Newark, JFK, Harrisburg, Lehigh Valley, Baltimore, and beyond actually. But then we have SUVs, we have passenger vans, we have, of course, a lineup of limousines and limo buses. So we can accommodate groups up to 22 people. And essentially we'll take people wherever they want to go for whatever reason. Okay. And it's always interesting to see what new reasons people are calling us for. Medical appointments, trips to New York City to go shopping. We even transported a trumpet to New York City.
Wow.
It was left behind by a Jazz Fest artist, and they needed it, you know, in a hurry. Yeah. So, okay, but we made sure it was buckled in properly. It worked out fine. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges you have as a small business owner in your industry?
Well, there's a lot of challenges. First of all, we are, you know, a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour-a-day kind of business.
Good point.
We have cars on the road, more hours of the day than not. So you know, keeping everything scheduled and running smoothly as far as the chauffeurs and their assignments, as far as the vehicles go and their maintenance requirements and so forth like that. Just keeping track of all the customers and changes that they make, flights delayed, canceled, etc. And then, of course, we're a pretty heavily regulated industry, rightly so, but that takes time to make sure we're doing everything the right way.
All right. Well, let's talk about that. One of the things you just brought up about it being regulated, I guess that's one of the controversies in your industry with Uber. Now, I wouldn't think that's a direct impact on you, but I would think it hits your space.
Yeah, yeah. Uber and Lyft, they call TNCs, Transportation Network Companies. I haven't really noticed any kind of impact, and I think they're more of a challenge for the taxi industry. Generally, when people want to go somewhere right now, last minute kind of thing, our customers generally reserve a day, a week, a month, a year in advance. But what everybody needs to be aware of is that Uber and those similar companies, it's a little sketchy as far as how insurance works, about who's behind the wheel and how thoroughly they've been screened, and and what kind of car is going to show up when you hit that app. It could be a 72 Pinto with wood grain paneling. You don't know, and but what we have to do is as far as our chauffeurs, we do criminal background checks. Of course, they have to have a spotless driving record, drug testing and so forth like that. And beyond that, we make sure that they have the right personality, that they understand this is a service business. Somebody who has a sales background is great because they understand with interacting with the customer. And so that's
Is that one of your issues in your industry as well, given that it's not necessarily a regular schedule in keeping the chauffeurs on and keeping them as busy as they want to be when they want to be?
Well, yes. It's very cyclical. You know, once the summer ends now, and you know, kids are back in school and people are finished with their vacations, things will pick up tremendously. And so right now we're at a little bit of a slower period, but everybody understands and knows it's going to happen in advance. And it is sort of feast or famine, because sometimes there's just not a whole lot going on, and then the phone starts ringing and it just won't stop. You know,
Right.
and we try to accommodate everybody, and sometimes it's very hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I did notice on your website that your fleet really has grown. You know, having the buses, having more stretch limos, having the town cars and the really nice cars.
Yeah.
So obviously you're growing. Do you have some tips for fellow small businesses? What do you attribute your growth to?
Well, I think if you can offer a product or service that is consistent and reliable, that is the key. Because you know, we have you know, a significant number of people that travel with us in any given week, and they'll tell their neighbors and friends about the experience that they had, and whether it's good or bad. And so apparently we're doing more good than bad, so that's why we're growing. And that's sort of the key, is to
Going for the repeat business.
Yeah, and just a lot of word of mouth. That's really what I think. I'd rather patronize a business that somebody that I know of has recommended.
Sure.
You know, rather than just finding an ad
I
somewhere.
always read reviews.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. So
Before I
that's,
buy anything.
yeah, that's the way to do it.
So are there some next steps for you?
Well, it's been a slow and steady growth, and I'm always trying to. We do a lot of corporate work, corporate travel. And I'm always trying to establish relationships with more and more companies, and I envision it as just sort of being a slow and steady expansion. We do more and more work up in Schuylkill County, for example, and you know, our name is getting more and more recognition up there, and we cover, you know, a wide area, Lehigh Valley, you know, out to Lancaster and so forth too.
Right.
So you know, I think slow and steady is how it's been,
Excellent.
and I'm okay with that.
Excellent.
Because if I do have to expand, I have to, you know, buy more cars, and that's not necessarily the easiest thing to
Find
do.
more drivers.
Find more chauffeurs. You know.
Yeah. Very good. Well, you're seeming to be growing nicely. We appreciate that. Any tips you have for members on resources they might want to tap into? Anything you've used, peer groups or anything that you've used to help grow your business?
Well, being a member of the chamber has been great. I like the power networking lunches.
Oh, do you go to those?
I think
yeah,
that's
they're
great.
popular.
Yeah, I think they're great. And of course the different events. What other advice can I give? That's a little tough to say, but
Well, don't mean to put you on the spot.
you put me on the spot.
Yeah, I did. Well, congratulations on your growth, and wishing you much more. And thank you very much for your chamber membership.
Sure, absolutely.
Great.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here today.
Sure thing.